Think of this.
Cleaning of the Yamuna River has been a major concern for the people living in the national capital.
You just saw pictures of Delhi on a calm Wednesday morning. Who would believe that this is India's national capital? Air quality index that touches 496 on a scale of 500. A river that is so toxic that it starts to foam. And roads so bad that even villages in Bihar look better. All of this must point to this single question. Why is the national capital in such a mess? In this video, we'll unfold how Delhi is like Jammu and Kashmir under 370, and we'll also analyze some common ideas that often prop up, such as making Delhi a full state. When a road gets damaged in Bangalore, how does it get resolved? Someone complains to the elected municipal corporation called the BBMP. The issue gets recognized and roads are repaired. If the BBMP fails to do so, the corporator is likely to face the anger of his constituents. In Delhi, however, there are 4 authorities that look into something as basic as roads: the PWD, the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, the Delhi Development Authority, and the New Delhi Municipal Corporation. That's not all. There is no single government these bodies report to. PWD reports to the Delhi government. MCD is an elected local government in itself. And the other two, namely NDMC and DDA, come under the central government. When a road gets damaged and becomes unfit to use, there is no clarity on who is responsible to repair it. The Public Works Department will blame the MCD. The MCD will blame the DDA, and it continues. There is no clear demarcation of who is responsible where, and mind you, I have listed only the 4 major authorities. There are so many other minor ones, like the Delhi Cantonment Board, L&DO, and believe it or not, even the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Yes, you heard it right. Some roads and pavements are under the DMRC. If you think this is just about roads, you are mistaken. Nothing civic in Delhi is entirely under one elected body. Water supply is spread across 3 of the above mentioned bodies and another one called the Delhi Jal Board. It's the same case with sewage and cleanliness too. Bodies reporting to multiple elected governments is one thing. Elected governments not having complete power is another. Wait, let me simplify this for you. Delhi is a union territory. The lieutenant governor has significant and special powers that governors in other states don't. All laws and decisions passed by the government of Delhi needs an approval of the LG. That's not all. Unlike other states where the chief minister has the power to remove a civil servant and government officials at his own will, the chief minister of Delhi has no such power. He or she is at the mercy of the LG to manage appointments and removals. This, in an ideal case, shouldn't be a problem. But given the party power dynamics, it has caused a severe policy paralysis. Quite often, you'll find bureaucrats rebelling against the ministers they report to and taking decisions independent of their bosses. Many times, you'll also see elected ministers begging their secretaries on social media to respond to their calls and messages. Truly sorry state of affairs. National capitals are not always easy to manage from a governance standpoint. This is not a problem which is unique to India or South Asia, so to say. District of Columbia, the capital of the United States, is not a state in itself. It is a federal district, meaning it has a local government but does not have the powers that a full state does. They have no elected parliamentarians in both houses, and the US Congress can overturn any decision of the local government. The case in China, Brazil, and Canada is no different. The respective capitals are directly governed by the federal government with limited autonomy of local bodies. Statehood for Delhi is a promise made by every political party without an exception. They think that this is a solution to all of Delhi's governance mess and will bring some administrative accountability. Yet, nobody has stepped up to fulfill the promise. And there is a good reason why. As the national capital of Delhi that seats the country's central government, parliament, Supreme Court, and other authorities, being under a small state rule is not particularly smart. Consider this. During a war, the national capital is usually the most important target. Intelligence agencies, the armed forces, and police need to work in tandem to achieve these objectives. If there was a state government with full powers, there would be constitutional roadblocks on coordination. It's not just about extreme events like war. Take state visits of foreign heads of states or summits that are held in Delhi. These are subjects that directly concern the central government, and having a parallel authority like the state government does little good. Lastly, the national capital belongs to people from across the country, not just the ones who live there. People from across the country work in the central government, PSUs, armed forces, and other collective bodies of the Indian Union, whose seat of power is New Delhi. Making it a state with full autonomy and with benefits of a full state would be favoring one state over all the others. Remember, in the start of the video, I mentioned that Delhi is like Jammu and Kashmir under 370. Before the abrogation in 2019, Jammu and Kashmir was in a similar situation too. The central government had an obvious stake due to security and geopolitical reasons, and adding to the complexity were state government and local municipal bodies. Complex governance structure with no clear accountability was the reason for the mess the state was in for 70 years. The abrogation of Article 370 and making Jammu and Kashmir a UT clearly defined the scope of both the governments in the federal system. Today, the transformation of Jammu and Kashmir is unbelievable. There is a significant decrease in the armed conflict. The economy is booming and infrastructure is built at lightning speed. The UT is set to be connected to the rest of the country by rail for the first time later this year. Article 239AA of the Indian Constitution is like Article 370. Replacing this with a clearer one will bring accountability to the city and also fix the mess. There is only one way forward. Either strip Delhi or whatever half-state status it has and bring the city completely under the ambit of central government, or make NDMC a UT and give statehood to the remaining part of Delhi. This is Sampriti. See you in the next one.